Howdy folks, and I hope your vault is secure wherever you are in the collecting wasteland. And welcome back to the channel for another unboxing and review. And today it's 4 for the price of 1 day as we take an up-close look at Mcfarlane Toys' take on Lucy, the Ghoul, Maximus and Vault Boy from the first season of the Fallout TV show, and all bundled together in this 4-figure pack. Usual format folks, box, figures, then showcase at the end. But before we dive in, the usual shout out to everyone who supported the channel, and please drop a like on this review as it helps other people find Go Figure. And if you haven't already, be sure to mash that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you don't miss any of the action figure goodness that we've got coming up, and trust me, there's a hell of a lot of it. So, regulars to the channel will know my passion for all things Fallout. Well, maybe not some of the later games, but we won't go there. And the TV show, in my opinion, was a breath of fresh air to see a video game franchise done justice in live action. I think a very, very rare commodity indeed these days. But that's enough of my Vault-related ramblings. Let's have a look around this box. And a huge box it is too, not very tall, but exceptionally long. And it's been packaged in a rather unique way here. I believe that Mcfarlane Toys actually released a 3-figure set here, which just included Lucy, the Ghoul and Maximus, which was an Amazon exclusive, which came in a much smaller box. But this one, the 4-figure set, is in this very long, windowed plastic box. I have tried to arrange the lighting to reduce glare here, but if it does catch the light, I apologise for that. But the box itself, I think, is really, really nicely presented. I've been a fan of the movie Maniacs line for a number of years now, and the presentation's always top-notch. What you've got here is the areas of the box that are visible, done in this sort of stone vault look. You've got Fallout in the bottom left-hand corner here, in the video game and TV show lettering. In the bottom right-hand corner, you've got a couple of bits of exclusive material shoved in here as well. I think there's some cards and a surprise gift. Well, I will try and manhandle this box into shot, but it is not the easiest thing in the world to do. On this side, let's see if we can't angle this actually. On this side, what you've got is a shot of Lucy and of the Ghoul and of Maximus, and it says Fallout on the top there, and continuation of that sort of blue and yellow theme, that Vault theme. And around this side, it's just clear plastic on this side, just another window so you can see in. What it does say on the top there is limited edition. This is limited to 10,000 pieces, and you've got Mcfarlane Toys on there again. Obviously nothing on the top other than the window itself, and a continuation of that blue and yellow theme. On the bottom, you've got all the usual credits and warnings, and it says Prime and Bethesda there. Don't piss these figures off or they may declare war on you, and we all know war never changes. But that's the front and the sides. Let's try and zip this thing round so we can take a look at the back, and on the back you have this really nice image of all the characters from the TV show, including Vault Boy. Just really, really nicely done. You've got those yellow and blue themes continued on the back. It says Movie Maniacs, top left-hand corner, Fallout again. Any criticism of this? I would say it's a little bit washed out, this image on the back. It could be a bit more vibrant, a little bit more HD, but overall, I think, as with all their Movie Maniacs line, I think the presentation here from Mcfarlane is very good indeed. This is a brand new set of figures, literally just come through the door, so we will do as we always do. We'll crack the seals on this box, we will dive down onto the table and have a close-up look at all the characters. Okay guys, so here they are, straight out of the box, and first impressions, and I've got to say, first impressions are pretty good. I'm liking what I'm seeing here, but we'll take a close-up look at each one individually. But before we do that, I was really pleased to see actually that Mcfarlane had included some goodies with these particular figures. Not only do you get this backdrop, which is actually inserted into the box, and not entirely practical, this backdrop, but because finding space for that in the display might not be the easiest thing in the world. But what they have done is included these cards. Now, these cards match the backdrop, and they fit into each individual figure's base by a simple slotting mechanism. There's a tab on the bottom there, and you simply slot it into place, and each one's got their own individual card, and they match the backdrop of the actual the insert, the card insert that comes in at the back of the box. It can be a little bit fiddly getting these things in because there's something stuck in the way there, but yeah, if you futz around with it, you can actually get the backdrop to slot in there, and I think that looks really, really good. Far more practical for the display than having this huge diorama that you've got going on here, as nice as this is, but we'll put that to one side for a second. What else do you get? Oh, and the great thing is as well, if you actually look at the backdrop, it's one continuous shot, so rather than just print one particular segment and replicate it for all three figures, what Mcfarlane have done, which is a nice touch, is they've sort of bisected each area of the big backdrop. So if you were to hold them all together, they all link up and make a nice panorama. So yeah, those are the backdrop cards. You get a separate one for Vault Boy, which is really nice to see, and it just says to each according to their merit on the front. And that attaches in exactly the same way as well, simply slots into the base here. He said confidently, these are can be a little bit finicky because they're quite tight, but once you've got it in there, it's not going to be falling out. So nice little touch there from Mcfarlane, I have to say. Props to them for doing that. And I think they'll look really, really good in the display with those card inserts in the back there. So what else do you get? Well, Mcfarlane have included this certificate of authenticity card, which is nice to see as well. I wasn't expecting this, to be honest, but we'll get this out and have a quick look at it if it wants to come out, which it doesn't. On the front there, this nice high stock card. On the front, you've got that picture that's on the back of the box itself. It just says 4-pack bundle. There's Vault Boy on the front there, and it just says certificate of authenticity on the back and a number there. And this is 7,197 of 10,000. So yeah, just a nice little inclusion there from Mcfarlane. So we'll put that to one side. You also get, now there's 4 of these. Now I do know what these are because one of these, I think one of these was included with the actual 3-pack set, the Amazon exclusive 3-pack set, but you get 4 with these 4 sealed silver envelopes. We'll open one up on camera because, as I say, I'm pretty certain I know what's in these. He said confidently, if this thing will open, yeah. And what you've got inside, and once again, this is a really nice touch from Mcfarlane here, is you get these stickers. And very nice they are too. Once again, you get to each according to the merit there. You've got the insignia. There's a couple of stickers there. So there's the Maximus's insignia there, the Knight's insignia. What else do you get? There's a whole raft of them going on here. What's really going on between Reg and Woody? Vote Betty. I like that one. Vote Reg for Overseer. And I'll say there's 4 of these. We'll open another one. Actually, we're going to open this one because I'm pretty certain this one doesn't have a sticker in it. I think I know what might be in this one. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's a cap. It's a Nuka-Cola cap. That is great to see. And it's these little touches that Mcfarlane have included here, which really, really set this apart from your average figure. Let's open one more. So I suspect what we've got here are some more of those. And I don't know how many of these stickers there actually are. Whether whether you can collect them, whether they're distributed differently between the 3-pack and the 4-pack and the individual sets. Yeah, there's a whole raft of them going on here. Zap that first, Nuka-Cola. I voted in Vault 33. Super Duper Mart. Yeah, these are great. I am loving these. And there's, I might as well open all of them while we're here. Yeah, let's leave no silver envelope unopened. Let's get them all out and see what else we've got. This one doesn't want to open, but yeah, I think, as I say, a great inclusion. These, you could use these in the display. I think these are fantastic little addition here. Courage today, victory tomorrow. What else we got? Work with Woody, Overseer for the future. And what's this one? We're all in this together, must win. I think there's another one at the back there. Yeah, that one, I think these 2 are stuck together. Doesn't want to come apart. There we go. And a Nuka-Cola. I think there's 2 there actually. And Vault Boy as well. So fantastic inclusion there. A whole heap of stickers to have hours of fun with. And that cap, I really like that cap. I think that's a quality inclusion there from Mcfarlane. I'm liking this already. So the figures, let's get all this packaging out of the way and let's take a look at these figures. Right, we will start with, let's go with Vault Boy. Okay, let's have a close-up look at Vault Boy. Now, they all pretty much have the same base here. We'll take this card out so we can see it properly. All pretty much got the same base. They're not, at the end of the day, we're looking at a price point here. It's not a solid base, it's just one piece of sort of silver plastic. It's got Vault Boy across the front there. I do like the font that they've gone for here, this sort of slightly off-kilter font and the yellow colouring. I think it suits the aesthetic of Fallout perfectly. But the base itself is really nicely detailed. You've got all kinds of things going on here. You've got grates and grills and what looks like bits of debris and all kinds of stuff going on. It's a little simplistic. It could possibly do with a bit of black a bit of a black paint wash over the top there, give it a little bit more depth. It's a little bit sort of 2D, but overall it looks pretty good. And I think I was going to say I think these are all identical, but I suspect they're not, because it looks like there's some different spacing here. So it looks like, yeah, they're variations on a theme, these bases. Now each figure comes in as I think it's about 6 inches, so I think we're probably talking about 1/12 scale here. But yeah, I think they've done a pretty good job with that base. The figure itself, you know, try and get them as close into the camera as I can. I think they've done a cracking job with Vault Boy here. It's the monotone version rather than the blue and yellow, and it's a relatively simple sculpt. Obviously, it's an animated character, so not an awful lot of detail. But I think they've captured that the aesthetic and that look really, really well. The paint applications look pretty good. One thing I did notice straight out of the box with my version of this one, and I don't know whether the camera's catching this, but there are some scuffs up the side of the leg here, if you can see that. I don't know whether this is an imperfection in the production of the figure, or just how it's been held in the inner clamshell, the clear inner clamshell may have damaged it. Not 100% certain, but yeah, you've got some imperfections on the shoulder there as well. You've got these sort of shiny areas and what looks like it's slightly dented. Not a deal breaker for me, but yeah, it would have been nice not to have them. But the paint applications are good. That face is absolutely spot on. Puts a smile on my face seeing that. It really does. That's fantastic. Got a 33 on the lapel, 33 on the back there. The paint applications, they're not brilliant, but I mean, at this price point and this scale, I'm not going to complain too much, but they could be slightly better. You can possibly see there's that line on the back of his hand which is actually leading into the belt, or rather the tunic area, which has just been continued a little bit too far. There's some slightly rough edges if you get right in there, but probably me just being pedantic there. But I think overall they've done a cracking job on the sculpt and the paint applications here. Looks like that dint is in his under this arm as well. I suspect this is probably a sculpting issue in mass production here. Possibly something to do with the mold that we were using. That's why we've got these marks here. But yeah, it's a shame. I'm not going to be scoring these figures because it's not the usual run-of-the-mill stuff that we look at on the channel. So I've really got nothing to compare it to. But yeah, I would be taking points off if I was scoring these out of 10 for these slight imperfections on Vault Boy. But overall, I think yeah, I think they've absolutely nailed it with the look there. If there are some minor imperfections. So that's Vault Boy. Let's take a look at Lucy next. We'll slot that card out so we can get a close-up look at her. Now, similar base as I mentioned before. Once again, suffers a little bit with that lack of black wash on there to pick out the details, so it looks a bit 2D and a little bit less detailed than it should. I mean, it's not as though the sculpt hasn't got the detail in there, it just needs picking out a little bit. Once again, you've got that off-kilter lettering, and on this one, unlike the Vault Boy, you've got some blood spatter going on the base here, which is nice to see. The figure itself, try and get this as close into camera as I can. The first thing that struck me about this figure was just a tad too shiny, that blue jumpsuit. I would have liked to have seen it just a little bit more matte. I think, yeah, and perhaps a touch more weathering on there wouldn't have gone in this. But overall, I think the colour is on point. I like the pose that they've gone for there, the action pose where they're drawing the pistol. The outfit is really nicely done. She has got blood spatter on her arm and on her chest here. It's got the the Pip-Boy on her arm there. Overall, I think it's very good. Let's try and get a close on this head sculpt here now. Looking at this scale, and if I'm right, don't quote me on this, if we are looking at 1/12 here, I think they've done a cracking job on the likeness there, considering how small this head sculpt is. That, you know, is unmistakably Ella Purnell to me. And I love how they've done the hair here in this slightly softer plastic to give it that flow and that movement. So we've got an action shot here. She's obviously stepping forward, she's drawing a pistol, and they've got the hair going off to one side, which looks really good, and there's individual strands in there. You can see where it's tied. I can get this into shot. The detailing on the suit itself is really nice, with Pip-Boy on the arm there. Not much by the way of detailing on the screen. Perhaps they could have put some writing on there, but they've given it that green hue, which is screen accurate. And overall, the level of detailing and paint applications are great. You've got that rib section in the front of the suit, screen accurate again. You've got those blood spatters on there. And yeah, I just think that head sculpt is very, very good for its size. I think the paint applications are on point. I think they've done a cracking job here around the back. Yeah, all those straps are picked out with those brown paint applications. You've got 33 on the back, and the buckles are going on there, even down to the studs in the arm, in the elbow pads there being picked out in silver. Really nice work here from Mcfarlane. I think they've done a cracking job. So that's Lucy. Who's next? Let's take a look at the Ghoul. Now, probably one of the most iconic characters from the TV show, and yeah, Walter Goggins. What can I say? A superb performance. He steals the TV show for me. I think his performance is absolutely. It's hilarious. It's scary. It's menacing. It's funny. It's just a pleasure to watch. Great actor and a great performance, and perfectly cast, I think, even underneath all that makeup. So once again, the base, yep, exactly the same as the other bases, not in design. There's obviously slightly more going on here. These sort of brick things, these bits and pieces at the front are moved slightly around on each individual base to accommodate how the figure is positioned on the base. But yeah, still pretty similar. Still in need of that black wash. Ghoul on the front. Once again, we've got blood spatter going on here, different to the Lucy base. This one, we've got it on both sides and it's dripping down the front. Now, the actual figure itself, let's take a look. What struck me straight away was I love the soft plastic sculpt that they've done on this tattered overcoat. I think it looks great. I think the sculpting at the ends here, you've got the where it's all torn and ripped, looks really good. They've got black washes on there to give it that depth and detail. The sculpt is really nice to give it that utterly battered look, and they've done it in this soft plastic, which means it's flexible. Now, obviously, these aren't articulated figures, but you know, if you had a mind to, you could take a hairdryer to this, and if you really felt that way inclined, you could actually probably position this out to one side if you're wanting a more dynamic look. Can't see why that wouldn't work. But yeah, I think that flexibility in there you could use if you were so inclined. But even down to the detailing on the inside of that coat, they've continued with those paint applications and dry washes to give it that weathering. Underneath, you've got those sort of olive green pants, there's blood spatter on there, there's creasing at the bottom there, the boots are nicely done. You've got a sculpted in holster, that belt buckle is really nice, the blood effects on the bottom of the coat there. Around the back, you've got the shotgun and the shotgun holder on his back there. And you've got the bullets sculpted into the bandolier going around his chest. More blood on the arms here, which are a harder plastic than the overcoat. Pistol in hand, that's the soft plastic, so there's some flexibility there. That's not going to break. That's nice to see. Paint applications are pretty good here. I'm actually very impressed with these paint applications, and that head sculpt, I'm going to try and get this as close into camera as I can so you can see this. Once again, I think Mcfarlane have done a cracking job on what is a tiny head sculpt there. That is unmistakably the Ghoul and unmistakably Walter Goggins, down to the no-nose, the creasing in the neck area and around that top lip, the red areas under the eyes, the lumps, bumps and odd shapes in the skin. I think they've just nailed it on here. I think it's a cracking little figure, this one. The hat is sculpted plastic, obviously it's not removable, and it's got some weathering on there to make it look suitably dirtied up, with the sculpted in band around it. I think that's just, I think it's great. I think for the scale, and I'll keep the risk of repeating myself, I think at the price point of the scale, Mcfarlane have been at this a few years, so they should be able to nail it on by now, and I think they definitely nailed it on here. So that's the Ghoul. And finally, we have Maximus himself. Much heavier figure, this one. It's got some real heft to it, this guy, for his size. Solid. And I don't know whether they've used a different type of material for this particular figure, because this one is actually cold to the touch, whereas the other ones aren't. I don't know whether that's down to the sheer quantity of plastic that they've used in this particular one, but yeah, it's heavier and it's colder. Once again, that base, slightly different to the other bases. If we can get the camera to focus here, we've got blood spatter there as well, but in a different pattern to the other two. It says Maximus across the front. Let's have a close-up look at the details here, and I think they've really got the T60 power armor down pat here, absolutely. And I think, yeah, it's 100% Maximus here. I recently reviewed the T60 power armor from 3.0 on the channel, and this is just like a miniature version of that. There'll be a link to that particular review at the end of this one if you're wanting to check it out. But yeah, let's take a look at the details. And it's the sculpt here is absolutely on point. It really is. For this scale, I don't think you could pack in much more detail than this. The armor looks suitably metallic. It's been weathered. There's dry brushing on there. There are washes on there to give it that depth. It's been dirtied up, particularly around the back here. On these thigh panels, you can see these darker areas. Maybe not quite as much detail in the back there as there could be, but overall, I think it's absolutely on point. Blood spatter down this thigh area here. We've got blood all over the hands and going up the arms. That handgun is nicely done and suitably metallic, and the whole thing just comes off really, really well. Proportions are absolutely on point, and if you are that way inclined, even down to the hoses, yeah, I almost forgot those. These are hard plastic, these hoses, coming out the side of the mask and going around the back there. But if you are that way inclined, you can actually swap out the head sculpt, and they give us an Aaron Moten head sculpt. We'll just move this guy out of the way so we can have a look at this. I'm not sure how the light will catch, but I think they've done a cracking job there. Particularly, once again, for a scale this small, I think that is really, really good. They've got the proportions right. They've even actually put some battle damage on there. He's got blood across his nose. It's running down his lips there. The hair is nicely sculpted and recognisable as the actor as well. It's got a little keen peg at the bottom here, and it's simply a case of lift off this head sculpt, and this one will key in, he said confidently, and now he's looking off to one angle, so it should fit in like that. So yeah, if you're wanting to display him with Maximus's head exposed, you can do that. I think this is a cracking representation of the Brotherhood of Steel armor that he stole from Knight Titus, and I think that that head sculpt looks really, really good. Not something I'll probably be going for in the display. It's just I think the power armor is that iconic. It's just deserving of this particular head sculpt. I think that looks more iconic, and that's how I will be rocking it in the display. So yeah, that's the T60. So we'll pop that back onto the display with the other guys and go into final thoughts on these guys. So right, well, as I said, I'm not going to be scoring them out of 10, but because I won't say it's an area that's new to me, but it's an area that we don't normally cover in the channel. However, if I was going to score them out of 10, if you put a gun to my head and said, Mr. Go Figure, you have to score these, I'd probably give these a 9. I think some areas of the paint applications, particularly on Vault Boy there, and maybe on the bases, could have been a little bit better. But I think overall, for the price point, and for the scale, I think they've done an absolutely phenomenal job. So as I say, if I was going to score them, which I'm not, I would give them the 9, which I'm not doing. So there you have it, folks. That is Mcfarlane's take on the main characters from Fallout, the TV show. What are your thoughts on these pieces? Is it something that you have in your collection? Is it something you're thinking of picking up? What's your thoughts on the video games? What's your thoughts on Mcfarlane toys? What are your thoughts on anything at all? Nothing is off menu, so please drop a comment in the comment section below. I would be fascinated to hear your take on this or anything. And I suppose all it remains for me to say is a massive thank you for watching. Hope this review's been useful for you. What have we got coming up on the channel? Well, in the 6 scale world, we have a raft of stuff. We've got figures from Hot Toys, In Art, Pure Art, Susu Toys, Present Toys, Caustic Plastic, the list goes on. So as I mentioned at the top there, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing any of the good stuff that's coming up on the channel. And I suppose all it remains for me to say, from myself, from Lucy, from Maximus, from the Ghoul, and from Vault Boy, take care of yourselves, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.